Bob O'Donnell is President and Chief Analyst at TECHnalysis Research, joining us now. Hello, Bob. What an exciting day. But gosh, it took a while for trading to begin. What happened?
Well, inevitably, these processes take a while. I mean, we saw this with some other IPOs like Grok recently as well. You know, going through the process, especially one this closely watched. And again, people were fighting to get shares. So I think there was just a lot of work that had to be done to make sure that everything went off smoothly. And looks like it clearly did. And to no one's big surprise, it did boost up rather quickly after it officially started selling.
Let's talk about Elon Musk, because he's at the center of all of this. He's now the world's first trillionaire. I think it's fair to say that investors are betting on this man and his vision. How risky is it, though?
You know, it's a very fair question, Sally. I mean, to be honest with you, I feel like so much of this is sort of around the cult of the Musk personality more than the companies. A lot of people who've done financial analysis, detailed looks at the prospectus for SpaceX have said, hey, look, you know, as you pointed out, only Starlink makes any money. The space side of the business is exciting. It's science fiction-like, but it's based mostly on government contracts which don't grow rapidly, and XAI is losing a ton of money. So if you know, from a purely objective perspective, it doesn't make much sense, but it's that personality and that vision that Musk is throwing out there that I think people are buying into. The question is, will that really last long-term? And I have, frankly, some doubts.
Yeah, and I mean, if we look at what's happened with Tesla, his other massive venture, that suffered a lot of setbacks, especially when he was head of Doge, when he was in Trump's government. Lots of pushback, lots of boycotts of the cars. Do you think he's at the same risk around SpaceX, or is it very different?
It's a little bit different, but I still think some of those same issues are there. And that gets back to my comment about this personality cult kind of issue, because, you know, he makes a lot of statements that upset a lot of people. And I think that is a concern. I mean, these businesses are a little bit different because not individuals don't go out and do space trips, and, you know, they don't necessarily... They may use XAI tools, but that's really more of an enterprise story. Starlink is the only area where it may be impacted the way that Tesla was, because that's a direct consumer purchase. So we could see some of that, which would be unfortunate since it's the only thing that makes money. But again, it is a little bit of a different animal, but there's still a lot of that baggage that I think inevitably comes with any Elon Musk venture.
Let's look at the impact generally on the stock market. We have seen some sell-offs of AI stocks in the last few days. I would imagine as investors say, no, I want to get on the SpaceX rocket. What do you foresee going forward in terms of this environment?
It's a great question. I think, you know, the AI infrastructure is going to go through peaks and valleys. I think inevitably there's a lot of questions out there, but fundamentally, you know, if you look at all NVIDIA and AMD and Intel and Qualcomm, all these companies that make the chips, as well as Micron and SK Hynix that make the memory, and all these elements, they're sold out through 2027, for God's sake. So the fundamentals are there, but the big questions, as you brought up right before we started, Anthropic and OpenAI. What happens to those two? Because those two are really the linchpins in this whole AI business moving forward. Because right now we're building the infrastructure, the picks and shovels, as it were. But what about the actual services? When those two companies IPO and we see what happens there, that will give us a much better sense.
All right. Thank you so much for speaking to us today. Bob O'Donnell is President and Chief Analyst at TECHnalysis Research.